Jay Jaffe talks baseball and beer with us each and every Wednesday at this time. And happy to have Jay back in his Brooklyn Dodgers cap. That's a cool cap, by the way. That looks like old school style. There is like no brim on that cap whatsoever. It's all smushed down. I like that kind of cap because that's the kind of thing I would expect you would have worn if you're back in the 40s or 50s right now in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a bit of a throwback. I actually got this when I was on Cape Cod. I realized I forgot to pack a hat, and this was the quickest Brooklyn Dodgers hat I could get. Was this one that had like absolutely no brim on it and didn't cost an arm and a leg. So yeah, new lid.
I like it. It's a cool hat. Very nice. Good for you. And listen, anybody that lives in Brooklyn should be sporting Brooklyn caps, right?
Yeah, it's a classic look.
That's exactly. Your latest on Yasmani Grandal and the White Sox injuries that they've been dealing with is up today at Fangraphs.com. Now, they ended up winning earlier this afternoon in their first game without Grandal. So I was interested in this one because I really thought that we would see Zach Collins, get an expanded role behind the dish and start to really get the bulk of the catching, but not the case today. They ended up winning 6-1 over Minnesota, and they went with Sebi Zavala as their catcher, a 27-year-old who they just called up. So I guess you know what, when you're rolling right now like the White Sox, they'll throw whoever they want in there, and as long as they keep winning like they have, keep distancing themselves. They built this lead up to 8 games right now in the Central, Jay. It's pretty remarkable because this lead was just a handful of games a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, what's really remarkable is that the White Sox have done this without now they're going to be without 4 lineup regulars. They lost Eloy Jimenez just before opening day, then Luis Robert, then Nick Madrigal, basically one a month, and now they've lost Grandal, and I guess he had a surgical procedure done today. So he's going to be out probably towards the longer side of that 4 to 6 week window, maybe even beyond that. Really painful looking injury. Despite the fact that he's got a 188 batting average, he's actually been the most productive White Sox hitter thanks to his on base and slugging percentages. And he's been hitting the ball hard. A lot of that batting out. He's in addition to being one of their best hitters, or arguably their best hitter, he's also a much better defender than Collins or Zavara. I guess that's how you say his name, or anybody else they've got. Yermin Mercedes, who was hit 415 in April and was a great story for a while, is in theory a catcher, but the White Sox don't really trust him to catch. He's caught only 2 innings this year. He's now down at AAA Charlotte, getting himself back on track after a pretty miserable slump that really took the shine off of those early season numbers. I think, especially with the news that Grandal had this minor surgery, all signs point to the Sox probably going out and getting some kind of insurance backup at the trade deadline. I don't think they're going to go and try to get somebody who would challenge Grandal for the job, but some backup who's on a non-contender who's not doing anything. Name Alex Avila comes to mind. He used to catch for the White Sox. Last spotted playing second base for the Nationals in an emergency role recently. And since the Nationals aren't going anywhere, you figure a guy like him is probably somebody who you're going to find on the trading block come July 30th.
Did you get a chance to see that diving catch by Billy Hamilton last night?
Yeah, I did, and I don't know if it made it into the final cut of the article, but I did intend to put it in. He had when I was talking about the White Sox outfield depth, he had a great play there in a really crummy looking field under the weather conditions.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, by the way, Indians got swept today, so they've lost 9 in a row, Jay. So the White Sox combined with the losing streak by the Indians, which by the way isn't even the worst losing streak in baseball. We'll get to that in a moment. So 9 in a row has built that lead up to be a huge lead. Indians got no hit today. 5 Rays combined in a bullpen game to no hit the Indians, and yet that will not count under the current rules as a Major League Baseball no-hitter. Again, your take on it, a one-hitter counts, but a no-hitter doesn't. Shouldn't we be consistent and either count it all or not count anything?
Yeah, I mean, look, these stupid doubleheader rules with the 7 inning games. They decided they weren't going to count Madison Bumgarner's no hitter. All this was decreed in advance. The thing is that Bumgarner's credited with a shutout in that game and obviously a win, but they've deprived him of the no hitter status. Here, admittedly, it's less of an accomplishment. 5 pitchers, looks like only 2 of them went 2 innings or more. But and I've lost track of how many actual no hitters we've got this year. I think it's seven 9-inning no hitters now, 2 7-inning no hitters, a product of the current offensive environment and the dominance of pitchers. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over this because I don't think Colin McHugh and his teammates were really thinking that this was going to be the pinnacle of their careers. Madison Bumgarner and anybody else who gets, any starter who throws a 7-inning no hitter, yeah, you'd probably want a 9-inning one, but it'd be nice to at least get some recognition because you played as many innings as were scheduled, and hit the opposition. That should count for something.
Jay Jaffe with us from Fangraphs.com here on Sports Talk as we continue. Yankees are in 4th place. You were there last week. You saw the Yankees play the Angels. It wasn't the game you expected because Shohei Ohtani was clubbed as he was starting. I think it even lasted the inning and gave up 7 runs, Jay. But you wrote about the struggles for Aroldis Chapman. Give me your thoughts on, number one, Aaron Boone. Are you surprised he still has a job right now as manager? I've heard a lot of people say that if George Steinbrenner was still alive, he would have canned Boone a long, long time ago.
This pining for the drama and bloodshed of the George Steinbrenner era is really silly because when they were at their most frenetic in that regard, most of the time it wasn't successful. I mean, 1978 was the exception rather than the rule. When Steinbrenner was firing pitching coaches and managers and all that, it didn't bode well for the Yankees. Boone. Look, Boone has made some mistakes. I don't think he has a great feel for running a bullpen. He's made some mistakes with regards to Chapman sometimes, but those mistakes run in both directions. Sometimes not trusting him enough, sometimes trusting him too much. Which is it? The bottom line is that people are going to be angry at the manager when the team doesn't win. It's not Aaron Boone's fault that Clint Frazier and Luke Voigt and Gleyber Torres have stunk on ice. It's not like he's failing to motivate them or anything like that. These are the guys who played well, and have helped them in the past. Just 2 years ago, Torres was hit 38 home runs. His loss of power is completely mystifying. I think that the blame for this goes up higher. It's Brian Cashman. Cashman's done a great job over the years as the Yankees GM. This current roster is not particularly well built. I think you can also look to Hal Steinbrenner because he wouldn't let the Yankees go beyond the competitive balance tax threshold. That's really, to me, the fundamental flaw with this team. They've been risk averse in some areas, such as limiting the amount of time that Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton are in the lineup. Yet at the same time, they were just made a lot of high risk moves. As far as the rotation that haven't panned out. Signing Corey Kluber, who's missing a lot of time with the rotator cuff strain, Jameson Taillon, who has been largely ineffective, banking on the comeback of Luis Severino, who suffered a setback and probably isn't going to be pitching on that mound anytime soon. The easier thing to do would have been to bring back Masahiro Tanaka, and yet they were too cheap to do that. And that's to me is the real problem with this team. It's not Aaron Boone. It goes all the way back up to Hal Steinbrenner.
So what should they do? Should they just blow it up and start trading guys away, or have guys
No,
lost their
there's
value?
not. It's not. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get anything for most of these guys. I think Aaron Boone is still a cornerstone that you want to build around and extend for a longer term contract. I think that the building blocks are there, but right now it isn't their time, and whether they're pressing or suffering because they've got too much of the same type of right-handed hitter, I don't know. I mean, they might have to do some kind of midseason retooling here. And Giancarlo Stanton, you're not going to be able to move those contracts right now, or get value for those players. So I think you have to, you have to find a way to do it with these guys. And these guys, they should be doing it. It's defies explanation why some of these guys are struggling, but they are, including Chapman, who, yes, his spin rate is down, but his command has been just utterly awful. Hit for a 22-something ERA over the last few weeks, and it's just grim. Has cost them a couple games, and when closers blow those games, and he has blown like 3 major blown games here. That's really the kind of thing that tends to demoralize a team, and the Yankees have just not shown their typical resilience in that regard.
Jay Jaffe with us right now from Fangraphs.com. You can follow him on Twitter at J_Jaffe. We'll get his beer pick of the week in a moment. I mentioned earlier that as bad as it is for the Indians right now, there's somebody that's actually worse. The Chicago Cubs have lost 11 in a row, Jay, 11 straight. That puts them right now in 4th. Not last, because the Pirates are worse, but the Cubs are currently 2 games under 500. And you tell me, as this losing streak has continued to build, and we've seen some doozies this year. The Diamondbacks lost a ton of games. We have the Cleveland and now the Cubs. What's been the biggest problem for Chicago in this streak?
I think starting pitching has generally been pretty bad. They tore down their rotation this past winter, traded Yu Darvish, let Jose Quintana, Tyler Chatwood go, John Lester as well. They got Zach Davies back in the Darvish trade, but it really left them with a lot of soft tossers and not much in the way of dominant strikeout pitchers. And these guys have gotten knocked around. Even Kyle Hendricks has been pretty mediocre. Arrieta's been awful, especially during this particular stretch here. He's been bombed 3 times. The lineup is pretty mediocre. Aside from Chris Bryant, they don't, and maybe Wilson Contreras, they don't have any real standouts. The outfield has just been a black hole. Nobody is producing at a league average clip or better, unless you count Bryant, who's playing out there a lot because Patrick Wisdom has done a good job at third base and been one of their better hitters. But really, this goes all around, and it's just not a well constructed roster. And we thought that the Cubs would be about a 500 team, slightly below 500, which still gave them a chance in that division, just because nobody looked like they were going to be much better than about 84, 85 wins. And, aside from a stretch in which the Cubs have won 14 out of 17, they've been that mediocre. And here they are. They haven't won a game since that combined no-hitter with Davies and 3 relievers. And, it's a tough place to be. But they're going to have to figure out whether they're going to try to hang in this division race, which I don't know if that's even feasible anymore, given how far they've fallen. Or blow it up. They've got pending free agents in Chris Bryant and Javi Baez and Anthony Rizzo. Those would be 3 impact bats relative to what's available on the market, especially Bryant, and probably Baez, who's actually been one of the few guys who's hit during this 11-game losing streak. They might have an interesting window to jumpstart their makeover of the roster here.
And this is a story you're going to dive deeper into tomorrow at Fangraphs.com.
Correct.
Good. All right, Jay. As we get ready for All-Star Weekend in Denver, are you looking forward to the Home Run Derby? Because we've got some pretty good names that have all entered into the Derby this season. Yeah,
I've covered the Derby in the past for Fangraphs, and I've declared my stake in that again today when they announced the field. I think the excitement really, Joey Gallo, a guy who we know can hit the ball a long, long way. The thought of him hitting in Coors is pretty enticing. Also, Juan Soto announcing today. And, of course, we've got Shohei Ohtani's in there. He just hit his 32nd home run, new record for Japanese player in a single season. Pete Alonso, the 2019 winner, is going to be in it. It'd be nice to have Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton or Mike Trout or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You never get more than about half the guys who are on your wish list, though. And I think we've gotten half of those guys. Trevor Story, Matt Olson, Trey Mancini and Sal Perez are the others rounding out the field. This should be a lot of fun. Coors Field, I think, given the way the ball carries there, we could see some tremendous distances.
I hope they do not put the baseballs in a humidor for the home run derby and just let them come right out of the box and see how far those things can travel.
I hope they bring back the 2019 Rabbit Ball.
Yeah, would be good too. I agree with that. All right, wrap it up. Beer pick of the week. What do you have for us this week, Jay?
Okay, this was an interesting one. Sorry, I'm covering my camera here. This is Cerveza Monopolio, their Lager Negra. It is a Mexican style. I guess it's actually a Vienna lager, kind of along the lines of Dos Equis Amber or Negra Modelo. It comes in at about 5% ABV, 5.2 maybe. I think I saw in the can. It is Mexican style, but it's actually contract brewed around the country. This particular can came from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It's a nice amber style lager. A little bit malty and sweet. Bit well hopped. I found this to be quite refreshing, quite sessionable. Nice little backstory there. They've revived some recipes from an 1882 brewery in Mexico, and I thought that was a pretty interesting story. They've got they've also got a lighter version of a pale lager along the lines of Modelo Clara. And I'll probably pick up some more of this. It's good to have a nice light option around.
All right, this begs the question. How difficult is it for you to get fresh beer from Mexico out there in Brooklyn? And I'm talking about Modelo Negro. I'm talking about Classico Modelo. I'm talking about Estrella Jalisco beer and all the classics that we see here in El Paso.
Modelo is easy to find. Modelo is easy to find, and I pick them up once in a while. The others, I rarely get any of the others. I don't see Jalisco, but that doesn't mean it's not here. I just don't look for it. Obviously, Corona's around, but nobody likes Corona. Corona's a good beer for when you're on the beach at 11 a.m. That's about where its niche is for me.
There you go.
It's right next to the water.
Well, nonetheless, I'm excited about that one. It's Monopolio. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Monopolio. Cerveza Monopolio. The brewery is called Cerveza de San Luis.
Very nice. All right, good job. Appreciate the visuals as well. And hey, great having you back as always. We'll look forward to next week. We can talk to you at the All-Star break, Jay.
Okay, sounds good.